The story begins with a girl asking a woman what kind of story she will tell her tonight. The woman mentions a few, but the girl tells her she already heard of them. The woman decides to tell her about an old tale from long ago that began in a village far away. She tells her a story about a wolf that protected the harvests of a village in a land much farther in the south. The girl is interested and wants to know more about it. The woman tells her that the wolf made a promise to the youths of the village that it would bring bountiful harvests of wheat. The wolf kept its promise for such an exceedingly long time that no one knows when it began. The girl thinks the people of the village must have treasured the wolf, and that's the end of the story, with everyone living happily ever after. However, the woman tells her that after a long time, no one remembered the promise they made with the wolf anymore, and the wolf remained stuck in the field for thousands of years. A merchant named Kraft Lawrence is headed to his home on a horse cart. On the way, he is stopped by some knights who ask about his identity. Lawrence tells them about himself and reveals he was heading to his home after selling some salt at the village near the mountain. He shows them some of the wheat which he got in the village and reveals this wheat is strong against the cold and resilient against pests. He looks at the knights and wonders why they are here, since he normally doesn't see them around these areas. The knights decide to tell him about pagans, heretics who do not believe in the great God that created this world. They think the pagans are holding a festival around these parts and are here to arrest them. They ask Lawrence about them, but he mentions he doesn't know a damn thing about them. He then goes to the wolf village and comes across some farmers who are harvesting the wheat. He greets them and asks about his old friend Yeri. One of the farmers tells him to hurry up, otherwise, he will miss meeting with his friend. He heads to the mentioned area and comes upon a group of farmers who are chanting the name of the wolf and yelling who will get the wolf. The last one to cut the wheat is revealed to be his friend Yeri, who begins running after being declared a holo. The villagers follow him and caught him in no time. They lift him up with their hands and end up locking him inside a house. Yeri greets him on the way while being held by the villagers, but Lawrence realizes he will not see him till next week. He meets the head of the village and asks him about the harvest. The old man shows him the money they have earned by selling the wheat, and Lawrence can't believe a small village like them is earning a huge sum of money. The old man thanks Lord Erhendot for providing them with the new farming methods that help them gain good harvests. Lawrence thinks the villagers have moved on from their old traditions, especially praying to the old god wolf. But the old man jokingly reveals when it gets mad, they have a bad harvest. Lawrence laughs and then asks about his friend Yeri. The old man reveals Yeri is doing great since he learned how to do business from his friend, mentioning Lawrence. But Lawrence declines by saying he's reaping the fruits of his labor. The old man offers him a place in his house so that he can stay there for the night. But Lawrence decides to pass it up and heads to his home. On the way, he passes some villages and decides to rest near a lake at night. He looks around his cart and gets surprised to see movement inside it. He thinks there must be some insect but gets shocked after seeing a face of the girl coming out from the wheat. The girl was sleeping, and he tries to wake her up, but gets horrified after seeing the girl has ears on her head. He backs away from the cart, and the girl gets up and shows her body before howling like a wolf in front of him. Lawrence can't believe what's happening in front of his eyes, but the girl glares at him and reveals she's hungry and wants to eat something. Lawrence thinks she's talking about him, but the girl eats out the dried meat which Lawrence was eating earlier. Lawrence asks about her identity, and the girl reveals she's from the wolf village and her name is Holo. Lawrence says he happens to know about a certain someone who also has this name, but the girl clarifies that she's the only one in this world who has this name. Lawrence says Holo is the name of the god of the wolf village and asks if she is a god. The girl tells him she's been called a god and bound to this land for a long time, but she's just Holo and nothing more. She reveals she was not born here but in a land much farther in the north. She was born in a place called Yoitsu where the people of the village called her wise wolf Holo of Yoitsu. Lawrence can't believe in the words she's saying and asks her to prove her identity. She says her tail and ears are enough to satisfy him, but Lawrence isn't agree with this as he wants her to show him her true wolf form. The girl doesn't like the idea and quickly declines it, but Lawrence declares if she is the real wise wolf Holo, a god of harvest, then she might bring him some fortune as well. However, the girl says it is impossible for any creature to change forms without getting a price, and for her to do so, she wants a blood of the living human, or a small amount of wheat. Lawrence goes with the wheat and the girl accepts his offering. She quickly eats it out and transforms into her true wolf form, which made Lawrence horrified to death. He runs back to the village and seeks shelter in the head of the village's house. The old man agrees to help him out, but Lawrence gets surprised after seeing Yeri already there. He asks about the wolf, and Yeri reveals it's just an excuse for the people in the village to have a festival. They then spend some quality time with each other while eating meat and drinking wine, and Yeri thanks Lawrence for saving his village as he was the one who told him how to do business and sell their wheats to other villages. Yeri ends their conversation by revealing that the times have changed and they don't need ancient god Holo. Lawrence decides to head to his room to get some sleep, but gets surprised after seeing Holo below his bed. He asks if anyone saw her coming to this room, and Holo tells him that no one can see her because she lives inside the wheat. She reveals if there is a large amount of wheat than the last sheaf of the wheat nearby, she can move to that wheat without being seen by any humans. She then looks at him and asks if he's still afraid of her after seeing her true form. Lawrence says he was the one who told her to show her true form and was afraid after seeing it, but now he's not afraid of her. Holo laughs and reveals there was a person who asked her to ensure the harvests of this village and she kept her promise till now. However, it was not an easy task as she faced many difficulties, and for this, she had no choice but to create bad harvests for this village, and the people began losing their faith in her. She thinks people can have bountiful harvests without her as she is not needed any longer. However, Lawrence says he believes in her and asks if there's a place she wants to go after leaving this village. With a sad look, she says she wants to go to the north. The next day, Lawrence leaves the village along with Holo and she decides to wear Lawrence's clothes. Lawrence isn't happy at this as it took 10 years for him to get those best clothes. But Holo believes he's a good guy and would not tell a girl to take them off. She wishes to travel with him, and Lawrence agrees as he believes this must be some kind of fate. They then head to their next destination while Holo begins teasing him by touching his arm. The story begins with a girl brutally stabbing a boy with a knife. The boy can't help but wonder what's going on and why he is being killed. Just as he tries to get up, the girl brutally kills him with a fatal strike from a knife. The next moment, he wakes up and sees that an elderly green goblin is standing in front of him. He wonders why he is alive, but the elderly goblin comes and gives him a name, Gabru. With this, he realizes that he has been reincarnated into another world, but as a lowly goblin. The next day, as he wakes up from his sleep, he sees that he has grown up and reveals that this is one of the abilities of the goblins as they grow faster in this world. He vows that his old life was disgusting, but he will do everything in this world to survive. The elderly goblin then comes in and, after giving them the food, declares that from now on, he will not give them any food as they will have to get food by themselves. Our reincarnated goblin Gabru believes this might be bad, but then looks at the tall goblin from his herd and thinks of an idea. With this, he comes out of his cave along with the tall goblin, whose name is Gubkichi, and heads to the forest to get some food. He shares his idea with Gubkichi and tells him that Gubkichi's duty is to bring their prey to the assigned location, and he will finish it there with everything he has. Gubkichi agrees to it and does the same, and they are able to hunt down their first prey. Their first prey turns out to be a wild horned rabbit. Gabru is glad that they have finally found food, but Gubkichi tries to eat it alone without sharing it with Gabru. Seeing this, Gabru gets mad and beats him up, and then declares that they are in this hunt together and they will share the food together. Just then, he realizes that he needs a weapon to kill his prey, otherwise, he might not be able to get the job done. With this, he cuts off the horn of the rabbit and believes that this will act as a knife for him in the next hunt. However, to his surprise, he receives a status inside his head that says he has obtained the horn of a small creature. Gabru wonders what it is but quickly shoves it away after realizing that Gubkichi is wanting to eat food. They then eat their first prey, and Gubkichi is glad that he finally found something more tasty than those ugly insects. With this, they begin hunting together in the forest, with Gubkichi leading the prey and Gabru finishing it with a horn knife. As they eat, Gabru again gets a message from the status, and this time it says that Gabru has acquired a new skill called Escape. Seeing this, he realizes that in his past life, he was also born with this rare skill that allowed him to eat anything, including iron, gold, and poison. He believes that his past life skills have been reset in this world and wonders what kind of skills he will get in the future. He then gives one of his horn knives to Gubkichi and tells him to hunt down the monsters with it. However, the sun goes down and they head to their cave. There, a goblin girl named Gobmi is amazed at Gabru's hunting skills. She says Gabru is amazing before revealing that he is the only one who came alive while other goblins died at the hands of horned rabbits. Gibkichi tells her that Gabru was not alone, as he was there with him and helped him, but Gobmi only pays attention to Gabru. Seeing her enthusiasm for him, Gabru invites her to their next hunt, and she quickly agrees with it. However, their hunt gets washed away because of rain, and Gabru decides to head to the goblin's storage area to find something useful that can be helpful for making his new weapon. There, he gets shocked after seeing a group of captive human women and wonders what they are doing here. He asks the leader of the goblin herd, Gobji, about it, but he pays no attention to his question and instead declares that he will level up faster than expected. Gabru wonders what he is talking about, and Gobji informs him that lowly goblins are born with a status ability, which means they can maximize their status by hunting down their prey. He reveals that if they reach level 100, then they will be able to evolve into a more advanced life form, Hobgoblin, but this is not an easy task as dozens of goblins get killed by trying it. However, he believes that Gabru will be the first in his herd to achieve this feat. With this, Gobji heads back to the cave and informs him that some of the evolved goblins from another village will soon arrive here, and he will get to see what an evolved hobgoblin looks like. A reincarnated goblin hears this and vows that he will reach level 100 before their arrival. The next day, they hunt down some snakes and some medium-level monsters, and this time, Gobmi is also with them. Gobmi is glad that she gets to eat some meat. But Gabru gets another message from the status, and it declares that he has acquired some new skills, including thermography, venom resistance, search, and an evil eye. Gabru can't believe that the snake was so powerful, but he vows that he will become stronger so that he can survive in this world in his second life. With this, they head inside the bat cave and try to take them down, but get trapped as there are so many bats. Gabru sees this and activates his evil eye skill. This causes the bats to get paralyzed, and they quickly finish them off with their weapons. After that, they eat outside the cave, and the status again informs him that he has acquired some new skills, including echolocation, vamping up, and vamphilia. He can't believe he has gained another set of skills in a day, but he didn't realize that some of the goblins from his herd are spying on them. At night, as they sleep inside their cave, the same goblins try to kill him, but his search skill comes in handy, and he quickly takes them out with his knife, which was mixed with his venom skill. Gabru asks about their reason behind this attack, and the goblins reveal that he was eating all alone while they had nothing to eat. This made them angry, and that's why they decided to go for the kill. Gabru believes this is his fault and then spares their lives, but Gobmi comes in furiously and takes out one of the goblins. The next day, the trio follows a high ogre. Gibkichi and Gobmi attack him with one of their horn knives and take out his hands and legs, and Gabru finishes it off by piercing 2 horn knives into his chest. With this, they eat the high ogre, and the status informs him that he has acquired new skills, including libido, orc language, and detect analyze. Gabru thinks this is amazing, but then stops Gobmi and Gibkichi from eating other monsters and declares that they will take the other monsters to the cave so that their brothers can eat them too. With this, they head to the cave, and the other goblins thank him for bringing food to them. But our reincarnated goblin Gabru can't believe he is helping them out, as he was a maniac who never considered helping others in his old life. He believes something has changed inside him since reincarnating into this world, but he shoves it away and goes to sleep. He tries to sleep, but the status informs him that he has exceeded the level values and will evolve into an advanced form of goblin. However, our reincarnated goblin does not want to receive the blessing of the grand god of demise and origin, as he just wants a peaceful sleep. The next day, as he wakes up from his deep sleep, he realizes that his body and look have changed. He was not alone, as Gibkichi has also evolved into an advanced form of goblin. The other goblins are shocked at this and can't believe they have leveled up in only a month, but Gibkichi is glad and tells Gabru to have a battle with him, as he wants to know who is the stronger goblin among them. With this, they battle with each other, and Gabru takes him down quickly by showing his immense power and greater skills. Just then, Gabru hears something and tells Gobmi to bring his crossbow here, as they will need it soon. We then see that some of the high wolves are chasing horned rabbits and killing them for fun. They didn't stop there and kill a high ogre that was passing by. Gabru sees this and tells Gobmi to attack them with a crossbow. Gobmi does so and takes out one of the wolves with an arrow, which was mixed with venom. They then attack the wolves with their advanced forms and quickly take them out with their new skills. The leader of the pack tries to kill Gabru, but Gobmi takes him out with an arrow, and he falls in front of Gabru. Gabru eats it out, and the status then informs him that he has acquired new skills, including Wild Hunt, hide armor, and a leadership skill called Order. They take all the slain wolves to the cave and give them to their herd. Goblins thank Gabru for bringing them food and request that he teach them how to hunt, as they want to stand alongside him. Gabru hears this and declares that he will teach them about hunting. The goblins thank him for this and say that he is a good guy, but Gabru doesn't agree with this statement. However, our reincarnated goblin vows that he will hunt down more monsters and eat as much as he can so that he can become a stronger goblin who can protect his comrades. Like and comment if you enjoy this video, subscribe to my channel for more anime recaps, and tell me what anime recap you like to see next in the comments below.